Hello, all benders and non-benders, and welcome back to Avatar Generations. And today, we are doing a video that has been long in the making, and I do confess that my delay has been purely intimidation. This is going to be a biggie. We are doing an Avatar Generations character tier list. We're biting the bullet, we're going in there, and we're going to rank every single character. Now, before we get into that, I do want to say, as of the time of recording this video, we have almost exactly 700 subscribers, which means we are only 300 away from the big 1,000 number. So if you want to help me reach that absolutely massive milestone that is practically fulfilling a lifelong fantasy for me, go down, hit that subscribe button. I would immensely appreciate it, and it would help out this channel an actual ton and would actually mean the world to me because this has been fantastic. So yeah, we are almost there, so if you can help me get there, that would be awesome. But let's get into this tier list. We have, of course, S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, D tier. I didn't really feel like having F because I didn't want to spread it out that much, and quite frankly, D, F. I mean, if you're in D tier, you might as well be in F tier anyway. And then we have the NA tier for characters that I have zero context on, like, can't even look it up in the game. I don't know what the build is. I could look it up, but with how many characters we have, I really don't want to spend too much time on a character that I don't even know about. So we're just gonna have that NA tier to put a couple characters there, hopefully not too many. I do, of course, have the game pulled up on my phone here so that I can look up character builds if I do need a refresher, because I do not have everything memorized. Also, this is my opinion. This is 100% my opinion based on personal experience and based on what I think would work in the game. If you disagree, if certain characters work better for you, fantastic. Let me know down in the comments if there's a character that you believe should be ranked higher or lower. I would be super curious to hear opinions because I do read those and I absolutely value any strategic input that anybody can give. But with all that out of the way, let's get into the tier list here. Looks like we're starting with airbenders, which waterbenders really did a lot of catch-up. Airbenders have not. It is still just Aang, Gyatso, and technically the youngster. But we are starting with the defense Aang. Did anybody else forget there is actually a defensive Aang? I sure did. There is actually an Aang who does scale on defense, funny enough. He doesn't really do anything that crazy. He does grant some skill nullifier, but that's only once per battle to like each ally. He does scale in defense, but he doesn't really do anything too crazy, and of course he's one of the 4 stars that's actually a little bit harder to get, so we're just going to drop him in C tier and call it a day. Now, next we have Avatar State Aang, the offensive version of Aang. He got a pretty good glow up in the Kyoshi balance patch. His basic can no longer be resisted, which is pretty huge, and I believe he did get a couple other little damage buffs here and there. And I have seen him used to some effect. Now, compared to the other 2 Aangs, he is lacking some utility, in my opinion, and the random nature of his basic does not do him any favors, and his advanced can be a little hard to properly use. But, like I said, I have seen him used to some noteworthy effect, so we are going to put him in the B tier here. Now, Monk Gyatso, he was by far the best day 1 character. That was just undisputed. If you were playing the game to maximum efficiency, you would keep re-rolling until you got Gyatso. And he has not gone down in utility at all. In PvE, he is truly fantastic. And I have seen some use in him with PvP. I'm trying to not make this a pure arena tier list, which would probably look a little bit different. I'm trying to factor in kind of all aspects of the game as equally as possible, which is easier said than done. But for Gyatso, I think I am going to put him in the S tier because, quite frankly, he probably is the best airbender in the game. And a great PvE tank who can put in some work in lower level PvP, lower level arena. Next, we do have Mind Aang. Now, this guy is a terror of lower level arena, and just for that reason, I'm going to put him in A tier here, because he can survive a hit and then immediately launch an absolutely massive speed-based advance with 2 knockdowns that are basically guaranteed at maximum skill level. As long as you've got the accuracy, you can do some damage. Now, Peace Aang. I am going to put him below, just barely below, Mind Aang. Now, this might be my first hot take of the day. I think he is good. I think he's very good. But he requires very specific attack builds, and he requires very specific support to function properly. He can be a little underwhelming, especially when compared to what Mind Aang has to offer. I personally feel like Peace Aang, he's very good, don't get me wrong, he is great, and I get a ton of use out of him, especially the Yanagi. He really works well against the Yanagi, getting as many air debuffs as possible. But I am still going to leave him in A because, while he is very good, some of the characters that are going to end up in S, I don't think he quite edges up. But that's just an opinion. The youngster, his build, or his kit, is basic as heck. We're even gonna put him in D. We're not even gonna give him the honor of being in C tier. We're not even gonna give him the satisfaction of a passing grade. We're just gonna put him in D. Now, next is actually a newer character, Avatar Kyoshi. Now, Avatar Kyoshi at the moment is bugged. Her Vengeance state is not working properly. It is only doing at most 2 hits a battle, sometimes even 1. In spite of that, I am still going to put her in S tier because her advanced skill packs a punch, and the ability to basically use 2 different attacks in 1 turn, that usefulness cannot be understated. It is fantastic. It does require you to have some pretty high accuracy to use it consistently, which on the flip side of that can sacrifice some resistance, but especially when she gets fixed and her Vengeance state is working correctly, yeah, Kyoshi is absolutely S tier, and she is out right now, which is good news for anybody wanting to get her. Now, we're going to go into the Earthbenders here, leading with Blind Bandit Toph. Now, this is the 4-star variant. With Toph, she's interesting because her first basic is an AoE, can't be countered, which is not bad. And if we're looking at it here, I'm pulling up my phone, it can increase the duration of elemental effects on the enemy, which actually is pretty helpful. And then her advanced, it deals earthbending damage, which if you use Boomy, you know is very useful, and can even reduce turn meter. And then if we take a look at her passive here, she can increase her accuracy and her attack if the opponent is using AoEs. So she is not busted, but I have heard some people say that they absolutely love her on the subreddit. So with that in mind, I'm going to actually put her in B tier under Avatar State Aang. When I do face her in arena, I'm not exactly scared of her, but I have no doubt in PvE she puts in a lot of work. So we're gonna leave her in B tier and call it a day right there. Next is actually our first powerful opponent of the day, Captain Bo Quinn. This man is a brick wall. This dude holds up. If you face him in arena, he even has a presence in high-level arena, like top 20 arena. So I'm actually going to even put him above Mind Aang, I think. Because that man is beefy. He does not drop. Now, next is the Boulder. Now, the Boulder, I'm going to make a case for this guy to be a low A. The reason I say that is what he can do. Basically, I'm basing this entirely on his basic. Okay, his basic deals that type of damage where if the enemy has an earth element on them, it's guaranteed to knock them down. Of course, barring the accuracy and resistance check. If you've seen my Boomy fight, you know how useful that can be, and that was with the Yamashu Soldier using his advanced. I'm gonna say he is a low A. And he also scales on defense, which as we know is very powerful. This might be one of my more controversial options, and it's kind of a me thing. And I'm not even saying I've used him all that much, but if you give him accuracy and just kind of put him in there with some other earthbenders, he can just knock down everybody with every single hit. Like I said, this is personal opinion, and that might be a bit of a bold take, but I'm putting him in a low A, although I wouldn't expect many people to be under him in A, if you know what I'm getting. Like A minus. Like, he got a 90.1. He's just barely an A. But I'm gonna put him in A just because I do like his kit. Next, we're gonna talk about Boomy. Boomy does some cool stuff. As long as you do get his accuracy up, he can do some devastating imbalance stuff when he does imbalance an opponent and goes into his neutral gen. He can do some massive damage. He's constantly applying earthbender effects. I'm going to put him under Gyatso, and I'm actually going to put Kyoshi over Gyatso. I didn't do that before. I'll put Boomy over Gyatso. I like Boomy too much to put him under Gyatso. Again, maybe personal preference on that one, but I do feel like that feels right to me. Now then, Earth Kingdom Soldier. This guy is surprisingly effective in Arena. I kind of want to put him in A tier because, again, he's another one that's bulky, but again, he's a low A. But I kind of feel bad putting him over or I kind of feel bad having him and the Boulder both in A. I'm rethinking that one. We might make Earth Kingdom Soldier and the Boulder a high B, actually. It feels a little wrong to put them in the same row as Mind Aang and Captain Boquin, but like, high B. Earth Kingdom Soldier is a great 4-star. A little hard to get copies for, but he is really good. Now we have 5-star Toph. I think she's gonna be an A because she is mean with some of that damage. Her passive basically allows her to dodge a hit every so often. She can hit the backline constantly, and then her advanced skill, can knock down opponents, guaranteed if they have the Earthbender effect on them. Yeah, she's gonna go in A. I'm actually gonna put her over... Do I want to put her... Definitely over Peace Aang. Do I want to put her over Mind Aang? No, I kind of don't. Well, maybe I do. See, my PvP experience is skewing my thoughts a little bit here. I will put her just a little over Mind Aang. And we might come back to that one, but we'll see. Next we have the Yamashu Soldier. If you've seen my Boomy fight, I really like this guy. His advanced skill works out very well for me. We are going to put him under the Boulder because he's got that knockdown effect on his advanced, whereas the Boulder has that knockdown effect on his basic. Just going to put him in B. I think you'll be happy there. Now then, we have the 4-star Kyoshi. I do want to refresh my memory on what she can do, just to make sure. Both of her attacks are AoEs, I know. Her basic can inflict bleed on the enemy, which can block healing, and can remove some buffs, and then her advanced can... that's right, inflict the Fearful State on enemies, which can decrease their attack and increase the damage they take. With a 50% chance at base, which goes up on skill ups, which is kind of crazy. Bringing it up to... just want to make sure I'm saying right here. It looks like brings it up to a 75% chance. And deals additional damage to backline targets. Yeah, she's one that I think would be more proper in low A. Yeah, I feel pretty good about that one. Tyro, he's nothing crazy. Every now and then I see somebody use him, but I think we're going to put him in C over Defense Aang here. Now, the last Earthbender on the list here is Xinfu. If there was a triple S on this tier, that's where he would go. If you have licked Arena at all, you know how powerful he is. He takes that number 1 spot in S. Hands down, no questions asked. He's an S tier. The end. Period. Next we have Iroh. Yeah, once again, if there was a double S tier, that's where he would go. He is immensely bulky. He doesn't drop for anything and is just a staple in any arena team. Bonus points for the fact that he is completely free to play to get a copy of. So yeah, he's going to go in there barely under Zinfu because he is great. Zhang Zhang. Definitely one who shines in PvE. His ability to go into that vanish state is extremely powerful, especially if you have a skill mastery 4 where that meditation will go off cooldown faster. Yeah, he is immensely useful. He doesn't really have a huge presence in PvP from what I've seen, but we are going to put him, I think, kind of mid-A is kind of what we're shooting for here. I feel pretty happy with that. This guy, the basic Fire Nation Komodo rider, I don't know anything about him, so we're just going to put him in NA. Fire Nation soldier, D. The man does nothing. He just does absolutely nothing. So, he's a freebie. D. The end. Now, we do have Monkey. I apologize if I'm pronouncing that wrong. I'm just going to pull him up here because I have never actually used this character. And to be honest, I don't even know a whole lot about him. For that reason, I probably should put him in NA and just call it a day, but... so he does do... It's interesting, he doesn't have an AoE. He fires 3 separate attacks of empowered damage, boosted by his own buffs, and he can decrease the turn bar a bit. He can enter the fearsome state, which does lower enemies' defense, and he gains speed and attack when he enters the fearsome state. I have no idea what his mastery levels are. I want to be fair to him. We're going to put him in NA. I hate to have an opinion on a guy that I barely know anything about, so we're going to put him in NA just for now. Rongi, huge damage dealer. Big time numbers damage dealer. We're going to put her in A. I'm going to put her over Peace Ang, I think, because the ability to do that rank 3 fire element on her advance cannot be overstated. That is immensely useful. Now we're getting into the Zhaos here. We do have Agni Kai Zhao, which the Agni Kai units are interesting because they get quite a few extra turns on a good day. I'm just pulling him up here because I want to make sure I'm saying it right. Basically, okay, so his basic does deal damage to one enemy and the back line if he's hitting the front line, and then it's his advance that gives him an extra turn. I'm not gonna say he's all that crazy. I mean, it's fine and dandy that he can take extra turns, but quite a few people can do that now. His basic does allow him to inflict fire elements, depending on how he's using his abilities. But we're just going to put him in C and call it a day, I think. We're going to put him... We'll put him under Aang, I think. Regular Zhao. Now, I can't say I've used him a lot, but I think we're going to put him high D anyway. He did... I gotta stop hitting. I gotta stop right-clicking. Good lord. I think we're going to put him in high D for now. I have not seen a single thing about him. He did get a buff from the balance, and I haven't used him really at all, if I'm being completely honest. But dang it, he just offers nothing to the team. He just doesn't offer anything. I do have a copy of him and have never once felt any kind of a reason to use him. I mean, he inflicts the captured state every now and then, which doesn't do anything real crazy. And yeah, he gets some... He does deal focus damage to decrease the enemy's focus, but it's just not good. It's just not good. Even his mastery skills don't really save him at all. Every now and then, if you get him to Master Level 4, which, if you're managing to win 20 arena battles with Zhao, then you're doing something right, because, wow. There's just no saving that guy, I don't think. Next on the list, we do have Chaos Zhao, Moonslayer Zhao. We do not have him post-global launch yet. He's a pre-global character. In the interest of total fairness, I'm going to put him in NA. Because quite frankly, there's not a whole lot of reason for me to rank him right now, because the vast majority of the player base can't even use him. I would love to give him a rank, and I have seen him in action in Arena every now and then, and he can do some cool stuff on a good day. Bonus points for the fact that he actually is a hunter, meaning he might play well with Xinfu. But in the interest of total fairness, I gotta put him in NA. If I were spitballing, I'd probably put him in A tier, kind of around this range here. But in the interest of total fairness, we're just going to put him in NA for now, because I really don't know anything about him. Next, we do have Agni Kai Zuko. He's actually kind of interesting, because he always takes an extra turn, if my memory serves me correctly. Basically, his abilities will always grant it an extra turn, and his passive kind of gives him effects based on what combos he's using. Yeah, that's right. So he does some interesting stuff where if you build him correctly, he can do some damage. We're going to put him in low B just on the merit of him being able to always take an extra turn and do that damage. I feel like low B is acceptable. He is better, in my opinion, than some people gave him credit for early game, but he's still not setting records, so let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Next we do have Fire Nation Zuko. Pre-Kyoshi, I'd say he's S tier. Post-Kyoshi with his nerf, he does go down to A tier, I think, under Captain Bo Quinn, because while he is still very effective, he did lose 50% turn meter from when he survives a lethal hit. So I think it's worth putting him in a high A. Now, keep in mind, high A, still very much passing grade here. He's a great 4-star character, especially considering he's one of the characters you get at the very beginning of the game. He's great, so don't let this turn you off to him at all. He is still very good. Speaking of Zukos, we have Chaos Zuko. Now this one we can rank. I don't technically have him, but I do know the basics of his kit. I do know that he can inflict some fire elements very easily, and that he plays especially well with Peace Aang. For that reason, I think I'm going to actually put him here. Just over Peace Aang, because they do work really well together, but I feel like Zuko does stand on his own 2 feet a little bit better, in my opinion. Now then, we do have Rider Zuko. This is the defensive version. There's actually 2 versions of Zuko that are defense, funny enough. I don't think there's any characters who do that. Nope, Sokka does as well. So, forget I said that. Rider Zuko got a major buff in the Kyoshi update, and now is making some waves in PvP. We are going to put him in S tier right now. A low S. Some of his success is contingent on the fact that he does work well with Xinfu. So, he's getting a leg up from Xinfu specifically. That's why I'm putting him in a low S, because if they ever nerf Xinfu, that is going to trickle down pretty heavily to Rider Zuko. But that buff from the Kyoshi update helped him a lot, so we're going to keep that in mind. Next we do have Invader Zuko. Nothing special here at all. He doesn't do anything of note that I can remember. We'll put him in low C out of respect, I guess, and just leave it at that. Now, we're getting into the special element heroes. We have a version of Sokka here. I think this is the 5-star version, which, well, actually, no, because I'm seeing another one. This might not be the 5-star version. This might be the Arena Award version. let me check that because I want to make sure I am grading this guy fairly. Okay, yeah, arena version. I know very little about him. I've heard good things. Let me just say that. I've heard good things about him, but I can't in good conscience totally rank him, so we're going to go to NA. Next, we're going to go to the Blue Spirit here. Now, this is another one who is not in the game technically as far as post-global release. Pre-global release, there are some people who have him, which is important to note, and I will say, I have seen him put in some work in Arena. The man can do some damage on a good day. But I have a hard time ranking a character who doesn't even technically globally exist yet. So we're going to put him in NA right now, although I could see him jumping up to A very easily. Next we do have this Kyoshi Warrior here. Probably high D. I know she doesn't really do a whole lot. She's got some healing if I'm remembering correctly, but I can't say I've used her a ton. She is also just an enemy to fight every now and then, but I haven't noticed anything crazy from her, so we're just going to go high D. Next, we're going to go over Dojo Master. He's the very first powerful opponent we got in the game. We're actually going to rank him as kind of a lower... no, high B. High B. Because he does do some good stuff. He can do some very good stuff, but he is very specifically PvE-oriented. PvP, while I have seen him every now and then, I can't really attest to... I can't say that he's really scared me all that much, so we're going to leave him in high B. Still a good character, but not doing some of the crazy stuff that these guys do. He can take a punch because he's constantly healing. His basic has the built-in lifesteal. You put even more lifesteal on him, and he has a hard time dying. But yeah. Next, we do have this Fire Nation Spear Soldier here. Bottom of D. He doesn't do anything. I don't think he's available yet, but I'm not even going to give him the benefit of NA. He's just going to go in low D, and we're going to call it a day. Next, we have Jiang. Oh dear. I'm so bad with names. I'm so sorry. I do not have him, but he is in the game. He looks like he deals damage based on speed, which can absolutely be helpful. He can mark certain enemies and increase the turn bar of allies based on certain stats, so that's kind of neat. And then he gets buffs when allies attack those marked ones. Again, though, I don't know his mastery level, so since I've done this before with Monkey, we're going to put him at NA just to be safe. Now, we do have Kyoshi Warrior Sokka here, and while I don't have him, I do want to rank him because I do think he's very cool with the fact that he can do revenge attacks. We're going to put him in high B because I just think he's cool. I like his kit. Unfortunately, I've never actually used him, but I have seen him used to some pretty noteworthy effect. Especially, there was a Kyoshi team I saw in Arena at one point that actually did steamroll me back in the early days when I didn't know what I was doing. Just for that reason, I'm going to put him in high B. I think he's neat. And we're going to leave it at that. Next, we do have the Mind Kyoshi Warrior here. I'm just going to remind myself what she actually does. Because I know she's one of those that's offered free in the story. On the Kyoshi Island, I believe it was. So we're just going to take a look at that and see what she does here. Looks like she deals damage based on the enemy's defense, which is kind of interesting. Can remove buffs on her advanced. And then enters counter stances whenever a buff is applied to the enemy. So that is interesting. At high mastery level, she can also increase her stats based on her counter stances. We'll put her in high C, just because I don't really foresee her doing a whole lot. She doesn't have a whole lot to her kit. But she does get the counter stances, and if for some crazy reason you actually went all the way up to mastery level 4 with her, you could get somewhere. Now, this is where I'm going to let personal opinion come into play. I love offensive Kyoshi Warrior. She does some damage. She does some really cool damage. I'm gonna put her between Zhang Zhang and Aang. I like her. This might be... She probably belongs in B, logically speaking. But I just like her. She carried me through the early game, okay? And I think she's cool. So, we're putting her in A. Fight me. No, honestly, if I'm being objective, she probably belongs in a high to mid B, if I'm being honest. But I just really like her, and she is very, very fast. So, I'm putting her in kind of a low to mid A, and we're going to leave it at that. Next is Suki. Now, I like Suki a lot. I like Suki a whole lot. Do I like her enough to put her in S? She does some very cool stuff. She counters very easily and very often. At mastery level, she can stun. And she does get a lot of use in arena. This might be controversial, but I might actually put her in A, because I feel like compared to the other powerhouses in S, kind of looking at the other tanks, we've got Iroh, we've got Kyoshi, we've got Rider Zuko. I feel like Suki has aged a little bit in the last couple months, but she is still a great character. I absolutely love her, especially if you do give her some skill levels. She can do a surprising amount of damage for a defensive hero. We're going to still leave her in high A, though. I feel bad doing that. I really do. I want to put her in S, and if PvP wasn't a thing I was considering, I would put her in S. PvE, S tier, without a doubt. PvE exclusively, S tier, but I do kind of want to factor in Arena as well. And with that said, we're going to put her in A. Now, we do have just the beginner 4-star Sokka. He does do some stuns. I don't want to discount that. He does do some stuns on his advanced, I believe it is. Which is important to keep in mind. I'm just checking here to make sure I'm not telling anybody incorrectly. He can increase his accuracy, which is kind of interesting, and get those stuns. And then on his passive, he's got some interesting effects where he can increase his stats at certain XP thresholds. I don't really feel like that's too crazy, though. We'll put him in C under Tyro, but over Aang, I think we're feeling. Now, 5-star Sokka, him I have seen some use out of. He's got some very interesting abilities, and I have been rolled by this guy every now and then, you know. It's not often that you see him in Arena, and I'm not sure I'd exactly call him the scariest thing in the world, but if we're looking at his usage in PvE as well, he is absolutely the best iteration of Sokka in the game at the moment. I'm just trying to pull up his kit here. The effect he does stratagem is very interesting because when he does get that out, he decreases the enemy's defense, which can play well with the current meta of defensive heroes. Also, against bosses, against any kind of higher level PvE content, very, very useful. So we're going to put him... I'm going to put him over here, under Peace Aang, but over the Kyoshi Warrior. I think I feel good with that. I think we can do that. Next, we have my beloved Wolf Paint Sokka. I'm actually going to move my webcam. Oh god, what have I done? That was not the webcam. Move the webcam over here so I'm not blocking, because we went down a row, so I'll kind of get in the way there. Painted Sokka. Triple S. If we were talking about pre-cheese. Oh, those were the days. Those were the days. But they fixed him pretty quick. So, logistically speaking, he doesn't actually bring a whole lot to the table. He has some neat mechanics, but they don't actually do much of anything. We'll put him in a high C. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Sokka. I love you. I really do, but... you don't actually do anything, really. You just don't. Now, next we have Waterbenders. At long last, we are in Waterbender territory. We do have 4-star offensive Katara. I don't know enough about her, so we're going to put her in NA and just keep it nice and easy. 4-star defensive Katara. You get her at the very beginning of the game. She actually holds up. She's actually not a bad tank in the slightest. She actually holds up really well against the Yanagi. And even got a little use in Arena for a minute there. I am actually going to put her right here in A. That's subject to opinion. That's very much an opinion on my part. But I think that for the fact that she is a free character who is actually pretty bulky on a good day and can even get some freezes, I think we can do to put her in A. Yeah, I feel good about that. Kiwok, absolutely A. This character is once again a powerful opponent, and a powerful opponent at that. So we're gonna put her actually over Zuko, I'm thinking. Her ability to just take a punch and then her basic can constantly stun people, has like a 65% chance once you get to certain mastery levels. Yeah, I find that very useful. Next, we have offensive Katara. She has aged a little poorly in the current meta, but she is still extremely powerful. I'm going to put her right here, I think. I do kind of want to put her over Fire Nation Zuko, because just the fact that she can freeze enemies so easily. And I wish I had one so I could put my Roku's Decree on her, because I think that'd be really cool to be able to get a freeze and then whip out a whole nother AoE just for the fun of it. But we're going to put her there. Now, Master Pakku. For a second there, this guy was nuts. But I think there were some bugs working in his favor there. I have not seen him in Arena recently. He was pretty cool for a while there, but I haven't seen him recently. It's not to say he's bad, though, because he is most certainly not. We're going to put him... See, I haven't used him a lot, but I have seen him in action. We're going to put him in A over... We'll put him in A over Kyoshi... No, Sokka over Katara... Yeah, we're putting him there. We're putting him there. He can do some cool stuff, but... yeah, I think that's respectable. And then we have Princess Yue. Last but not least, NA, because I can't actually attest to what she can do, and I kind of hate to rank a character that's not officially in the global launch yet. She did just get quite a buff where she can revive 2 players, or two heroes, and give some proper healing that apparently was not functioning correctly for a while there. But while I do think she would end up in A tier if I was ranking this on the basis that she's in the game, she is not in the game, so we're going to leave it at that. So that is everybody we have here. Now, this has not been updated with the Pirate Man, with Queen Tegaka, or her pirate fellows. I think Pirate Man would go in B if I were to just spitball here. Pirate Queen would go into A, I would say, because she does do some cool stuff, but I do need to test her more. And then the 2 pirates, I think the special element one probably go in B, and then the fire element one would go in a high B, I think, because he actually does have some interesting stuff that I do want to look into and maybe even do an analysis video on. But here is the tier list. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Did some of my picks make you happy? Did some of them greatly upset you? I want to hear it all. I want to know your opinion. And remember, this is just my opinion. I'm doing my best here. This is what I feel like makes sense to me based on my experience with PvE and PvP, kind of trying to rank that as equally as possible. But I'm feeling pretty okay about it and would very much love to hear your opinion. we will come back to this often as new characters are added in the game. Every few characters, we will revisit this. We'll move some characters around if I feel like they need to be moved around, especially when there's balances. And this will be a very fluid experience that we are going to revisit often. But until then, I would love to hear your opinion in the comments. Once again, we are on the road to 1,000 subscribers. So if you want to help me out with that, if you can just go below this video, hit that subscribe button, I would greatly appreciate it. It would mean the actual world to me. And I really do mean that, because I am living a dream come true over here. But yeah, I think we're pretty good here, and we shall see you next time. Have a good one.